Hello everybody. In this video we are going to look at a particular problem with LR0 parsing. So we have seen that in a LR0 parser when we construct a set of items, suppose we get this DFA. This is for the example that I had shown earlier, that is this one. S derives this or epsilon. So this was the grammar that I had used in our previous videos for explaining how to construct the LR0 items and closure and goto. But you have noticed that in another video, that is in our LR0 parsing table construction and the algorithm, I did not use this grammar. The reason is because this particular grammar is not, you cannot construct a LR parsing table using this particular grammar. Why? Because this grammar is not LR0 grammar. This is not an LR0 grammar. So what it means that if you look at this state diagram, this is the state diagram for this particular grammar. If you notice, look at this particular state I4, okay, or even look at I2, okay. So we saw that in a finite state, in a DFA, there are certain final states. So the final states will be the ones which has a dot at the end. That means, and when it has a dot at the end, then I can do a reduce. If the dot is not at the end, then I have to do a shift. Okay, so two options, shift and reduce. So reduce and shift. Okay, so if I have a production, say like this, then I'm going to reduce. If I have a production like this, suppose like this, then I'm going to shift. Okay, but if you notice in a state I2, you can see this is a reduced step, whereas these two are what? These two are shift. So in one particular state itself, it has got reduce step also. It has got a shift state also. Similarly here, this will translate to reduce, whereas this will translate to a shift. Okay, so when you have something like this, then in that case, in state 4, okay, or in state 2, you cannot decide whether you have to do a shift or you have to do a reduce. So you get a conflict which is known as shift reduce conflict. Shift reduce conflict. So shift reduce conflict will occur when for one set of items, that means for in one state you have one item like this and another item something like this. Okay, so if you have that, then you have a shift reduce conflict. There can be another conflict, which is if I have in one state, I have something like this, okay, an item like this, and also I have another item like this. Now both are final. Now I have these in one state. Okay, in that case, this means I have to reduce by A derives alpha, and here it means that I have to reduce by A derives beta. So, but both of these belong to the same state. So this is known as a reduce conflict. So this is a reduce conflict. So you may have a shift-reduce conflict, okay, or you may have a reduce conflict, okay. So these are two problems which you may have with grammars which are not LR0 grammar, okay. So our grammar this here was not an LR0 grammar, that's why we had this shift-reduce conflict. So before we can actually construct a parsing table, we will have to check if our grammar is LR0 or not. Only if it is an LR0 grammar, then we can construct our parsing table, otherwise not. So these are the different types of conflicts that can occur in a grammar. So there are certain drawbacks of our LR0 parsing. Drawbacks are there. So first of all, this is not exactly a drawback, it's the simplest of all LR parsings, okay, and because it is simplest, it is also the weakest. So simplest but the weakest of all LR parsers. Okay, so as we have seen in just now that we have only certain grammars which are LR0 grammars will be you can construct a LR0 parser for it. So it's a very small subset of the grammars for which you can construct LR0 parsers. So wherever there is either a shift reduce conflict or a reduce conflict, okay, you cannot construct a parser for it. And most of our programming languages, the grammar of the programming languages that we have today, these are not LR0, okay. So conflicts can occur. So practically it is not helpful. But why we are learning it? We are learning it because we need to know that the next parser that we are going to discuss, simple LR, okay, the construction process is similar. So how the concept of items, canonical items and all, these are similar. Only the table construction is different. So because we had the problem in the table construction, so we may have shift-reduce conflict, we may have reduce conflict. So how to handle these? So these are taken care of in the next one. Also here one problem is that here LR0 here means that we are not using any look aheads. So this can be a particular limitation, a practical limitation. So no look ahead. This can cause problems. So this is again another disadvantage of your LR parser. So in our next video, we are going to look at simple LR parser or SLR parser, which is more powerful than your LR parsers.